Namaste. Another wonderful moment to read another chapter of Swami Anand Arun's book, Lone Seeker, Many Masters. And this chapter will be dedicated to Meera Bai, and it will be the 16th chapter. Please enjoy. Meera Bai. If only I knew that love brings such sorrow, I would beat the drum around town and tell everyone not to fall in love. And the beautiful picture of Meera. Yeah. On a fine morning in 1950, Dilip Kumar Roy was singing morning bhajans in the Aurobindo ashram in Pondicherry. Indira Devi, seated in the audience, caught a glimpse of an extremely beautiful woman in traditional colorful Rajasthani attire. Her eyes were closed, and yet the ethereal smile on her lips radiated a grace that only comes from the other world. This alluring woman was listening to the bhajans like hundreds of others in the audience, but her beauty shone through the crowd like the moon in the company of stars. All the women of the ashram wore white, but strangely this woman wore a colorful Rajasthani dress. Once the bhajans were over, people started leaving the auditorium. Just then Indira Devi caught sight of the same beautiful woman who was walking out of the hall too. Indira Devi looked towards her and saw that she was walking as if afloat. Her feet did not touch the ground. After that day, Indira Devi started to see the mysterious woman recurrently, both in physical form and in her visions. One day, while she was sitting in meditation, she had a vision of the woman again. Mastering courage, Indira Devi asked her who she was. The woman said, "I am Meera, a devotee of Krishna, just like you. I am also a friend of yours from a past life." The conversation was the beginning of a lifelong romance, which also remains one of the greatest spiritual mysteries of our age. Since Indira Devi was brought up in a household greatly influenced by the West, she knew nothing of Meera. She told of the mysterious events that had recently unfolded in her life to her guru, Dilip Kumar Roy, whom she called Dada affectionately. Dada wrote the whole thing to his guru, Sri Aurobindo, who authenticated those events as true in letters dated May 7, June 2, and 11, 1950. He wrote, "It is common for such events to occur in the lives of seekers of very high consciousness." Dada assured Indira of her good fortune and advised her to keep a spiritual diary. Indira Devi's diary has become an amazing and rare gift to seekers of the beyond. I would like to share some of those events in her own words. The 8th of August 1950. Yesterday night, while I was praying, my room was suddenly engulfed by translucent blue light. When I raised my head from the ground, I again saw Meera. Her eyes were extremely beautiful. She talked with me for a long time. She said, "In a past life, I used to be a gopini of Krishna, and my name was Lalita. Radha, you and I were all friends. Radha became enlightened in that life due to her pure love for Krishna, but I had to be born as Meera Bai in 1498 into a royal family in a village called Kuraki. Currently the name is not found on the map in Rajasthan. 13th June 1951. Today Meera said, "I was the only child of my family. My mother died when I was only 6 years old. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given a statue of Bal Gopal, the baby Krishna, to his chief disciple Sanatan Goswami. Goswami performed puja to the statue daily. Once the statue came alive and instructed him, the reason why Chaitanya handed me over to you is about to be revealed to you. A girl called Meera has been born into a royal family in Rajasthan. Find her and hand me over to her." After hearing this from Krishna, Goswami went to many royal families in Rajasthan searching for me and finally came to my home. He recognized me instantly. On my 7th birthday he gave me the statue and left. A mysterious, intense love sprang up in my heart after seeing the statue, and I couldn't let go of it when I slept at night. In the night, Krishna became alive and started talking and playing with me. This is how a 7-year-old girl fell in love with Krishna. The statue was no more a statue for me. It became my love and my friend for life. When I turned 13, my father started to prepare for my marriage, as was the tradition in those times. I couldn't even imagine in my dreams that I could belong to any other man. I refused to marry, but since my father said that he would commit suicide if I didn't marry, I succumbed to marriage. I got married to Raja Maharana, the king of Mewar. He was a humble and kind king. He also loved me dearly. In the beginning, he gave me full freedom in my devotion to Krishna. He also built a Krishna temple in the palace garden. When I went in the temple, it would be very difficult for me to come out. In the middle of the night, I would hear a tune of the flute from the temple calling me there. I would try to resist the temptation to heed the call of the flute and remain loyal to my husband and stop myself, but after a while the attraction would be too strong and it would break the thread between me and my husband. I would be compelled to break all worldly morals and go and stay close to my eternal beloved. It would cause me great pain when my husband touched me. I felt that my heart, my soul and my body belonged only to Krishna. Maharana accepted my behavior, also he did not understand what was going on with me. In the nights when I went to the temple, he would follow me and wait for me outside. I felt great pain at not being able to fulfill my responsibility as a wife and would tell him, "What are you doing here? Why don't you go and sleep?" He would reply, "You come here to worship your Lord and I am here to worship my goddess." Maharana's brother Rana and his sister Uda were very jealous of me. They would tell Maharana that I was a woman of bad character and all my devotion was only a drama. When he heard this, my husband would be very sad, but throughout his life he never raised his voice against me. 13 years after our marriage, he died in a war, after which I had to face a flood of miseries. Meera said to Indira, "After the death of my husband, his brother Rana became the king, and he and his sister Uda started to torture me. In the end, they decided to kill me and brought a cup of full poison and said, 'You have brought great shame to the royal family. The whole of Mewar is laughing at us. To save the dignity of the family, you have to drink this and end your life.' I was so much in love with my lord that I drank the poison without thinking at all. The poison only wet my throat, which had become parched from hours of singing. Nothing happened to me. They were very surprised. They started to think that not only was I characterless, but also a witch. That event changed my life forever. I realized that the palace was not for me. I only belonged at the feet of Krishna. Krishna himself told me, 'Sanatan Goswami is in Vrindavan, go to him.' I left the palace and started a journey to Vrindavan with my egg Tara and the statue of Bal Gopal. All were happy to see me leave. They felt that they were now free from dealing with a mad woman. After that, Krishna gave the most difficult test of my devotion for the next 2 years. He stopped giving darshan to me, and I also stopped hearing the sound of his flute. It's difficult to imagine how Meera, a 26-year-old princess, must have passed this cruel test of time. How trying it must have been for a woman who is brought up in the luxuries of a palace to walk barefooted in the extreme heat of the Rajasthani villages, begging for alms every day. How must she have survived eating what she got out of begging, sleeping in outdoor rest stops and saving herself from the predatory eyes of men. However, the most difficult of it all was Krishna's absence. Krishna had completely stopped giving her darshan, even in her vision. His absence hung over Meera's grief like a dark cloud. After 2 years of extreme struggle, Meera was waiting for a master under a tree on the bank of Jamuna river. Her only friend was the statue of Bal Gopal. Her clothes were tattered and she had developed a tumor in her calf, making it difficult for her to travel. Seeing a lone woman, many men would try to sexually assault her. The woman who came to bath in the river, instead of giving her support, would call her names and tell her, "Don't stay here alone like this. Our men come to bath here. Your beauty will corrupt their minds. Go elsewhere." Her beauty aroused jealousy in women and sexuality in men. One night Meera was sleeping under a tree embracing her Baal Gopal. Two thieves came to the guard. Seeing her alone, one of them tried to assault her. Meera cried for help. Compassion arose in the other thief. He pushed his friend away from Meera, but while running away, he took Meera's Baal Gopal with him. When Baal Gopal's statue was stolen from her, she was also robbed of her last reason to keep living. It was in such troubled moments that she sang, "If only I knew that love brings such sorrow, I would beat a drum around town and tell everyone not to fall in love." All spiritual seekers have to pass through difficult tests. Such moments in life dissolve the ego and make the seeker realize the depth of devotion and surrender. When it became too impossible to bear anymore, Meera decided to drown in the Jamuna River. But as soon as she touched the cool water of the Jamuna, a strange transformation transpired. The pristine water of the Jamuna turned all her complaints and pain into a deep gratitude. Why am I complaining so much? For 26 years, Krishna gave me all the comforts and luxury possible. He gave me darshan every day and loved me immensely. Why am I now being oblivious to his grace and fretting over the agony of the last 2 years? She said. An intense feeling of gratitude toward Krishna was born in her heart. She cupped a handful of water from the river and offered it to Krishna and prayed, "May such devotion appear in my heart in my next life as well. May I never be disloyal or have doubts towards you," she said. Suddenly Krishna appeared, hugged her and said, "Meera, you are blessed. You have passed your test. From today you and I are one, and I will never be apart. You will meet your guru, Sanatan, today. Spend the rest of your life serving him." The tumor in Meera's calf had also healed. Suddenly the friend of the thief who had stolen her Baal Gopal returned with the statue. Each crane on the bank of the Jamuna and each leaf on every tree there was shining with Krishna consciousness. Meera saw Krishna in the whole of existence. While Meera was having her divine realization, Sanatan appeared at the guard to bath. He recognized Meera immediately. Sanatan lived in a hut in Vrindavan. Meera started living there as well and served her guru for the next 7 years until he left his body. The hut was so small that Meera had to lay a mat under Sanatan's bed and sleep there. When Meera arrived at Vrindavan, most famous temple, an attempt was made to stop her at the door because entry to the temple was forbidden to women. The high priest of the temple had never seen women. When they saw Meera trying to enter the temple, arrangements were made to stop her. But those people who were standing by the door to stop her were dumbstruck. When Meera came dancing, holding her ektara in her hand, playing music with a crowd of devotees behind her, drunk with the divine, it stunned the guards as well. They forgot they were meant to stop her until Meera had entered. The priest freaked out. He had been worshipping Krishna, but the trail fell from his hands. He had not seen a woman for years. Once the ektara was playing inside and the crowd had gone in, then they became aware of what had happened. But the priest did not plunge in. Meera came dancing in front of Krishna, but the priest was not impressed. He said, "Hey women, do you not know that women are not permitted in this temple?" Meera listened and laughed, and she said, "I was thinking there is only one man, and that is Krishna. And we are all his lovers. We are all women. I am glad to see that there is another man also in the world." The way she said it just penetrated a man's very heart. He fell at her feet to be forgiven. He said, "I have never thought about this. What I said is simply absurd. Only Krishna, only God is a man. We are all his lovers. Naturally, we are all women. You are right, and I was wrong." But trouble did not end for Meera after this event. Meera was unable to stay in Vrindavan. We have always given ill treatments to enlightened people. After their death we worship them, and while they are alive we misbehave with them. Meera had to leave Vrindavan, after which she went to Dwarika and spent the rest of her life there. Yes, and with these words, the touching chapter of Swami Anand Arun about Meera is ended. Sending you love and light. Namaste.